Crazy details about Padres management have been revealed. What does this mean for the team? Could this have lofty ramifications for the Padres? Well, let's talk about it. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Padres Digest with your host, Andrew. Today, we have some more tea, some more drama, because right now, it feels like things are going downwards. Maybe a little bit too fast. We might be spiraling. I don't know. Let's just talk about it. So, Dennis Lin of The Athletic had made a article, or has made an article, talking about some things, and we should go over it today. As always, I had my best friend ChatGPT summarize it, so we're not just reading straight up quotes, so I hope it's easily digestible for all of us. But the Padres have begun their 5th managerial search in 10 years. Meanwhile, their longtime GM has a year left on his contract with no guarantee of another extension on the question swirling around AJ Preller with Ken Rosenthal. So let's just read away. First of all, Ken Rosenthal hates the Padres. Padres hate Ken Rosenthal. So take what he says with a grain of salt. I'll start with that. But let's just jump into the article. Or, you know, the recap, or whatever you want to call it, the summary. So, intro, Preller under pressure. Preller faces renewed questions about job security as he enters the final year of his contract. His tenure has included constant managerial turnover, internal tension, and ongoing success despite instability. A new contract extension is possible, but not guaranteed. Shildt's sudden resignation and reports of conflict have amplified scrutiny on Preller's leadership. Now, obviously, I've read your guys' comments. 90% of them still very negative. One day, I would love for that to change, but it's fine, right? Still love reading your comments. But a lot of you guys are on the I hate AJ Preller chain. And this video will either certify that, make that concrete for you, back up your feelings. I don't know. But for some of you, it might be worrisome if you are a fan of AJ Preller. I am one of the fans of AJ Preller. Yes, I know we haven't won a World Series yet, but let's be honest, without AJ Preller, we wouldn't even be close to winning one. Yes, he traded away talent. Yes, he did this. Yes, he did that. But I think he's grown as a GM over the course of, what has it been, like 10 years now? Over 10 years? But again, your own opinion is your own opinion. I will not fight you on it. But let's talk about it, because I think there's some interesting things to talk about. So, power shift at the top. CEO Eric Gruppener quietly received a multi-year extension in 2024, giving him long-term security that Preller does not have. Gruppener's influence in baseball operations has grown noticeably, especially after Peter Seidler's passing. Team insiders say there's been rising tension between Preller and Gruppener, rooted in personality and management style differences. Preller insists the relationship is strong and productive, but the contrasting contract situations fuel speculation of a power imbalance. You know, I never really thought of a relationship between a GM and the CEO of the Padres, but it is obviously something worth noting because they're two higher ups in the Padres ecosystem, I guess we can call it. But if they have beef and like philosophical differences, could that have trickled down to what happened in 2025? And not just 2025, but other years, like 23 when we missed the playoffs, 21 when we missed the playoffs. Like, did that have an effect? I don't know. But let's just keep moving on. So, contract uncertainty. Preller has not been extended since before Seidler's death, while others like Gruppener and Shildt were. Key question inside the organization, was Preller overruled in the decision to hire Mike Shildt? Okay, sorry, I had to read that again real quick. So they're saying Preller didn't want Mike Shildt, but they wanted Mike Shildt, which would be interesting. I don't know if it's true, but that would be interesting, right? Executives wonder whether ownership will align Preller's deal with the next managers or risk the optics of a lame duck GM. Padres officials admit it's not ideal when a GM and a manager have different contract lengths, which I agree with, right? The manager can only go so far with the GM, and GM can only go so far with the manager. They are basically intertwined, right? Like, GM gets the product, manager manages the product. But you can't do that well with a disconnect in between. And I feel like AJ Preller and Mike Shildt did have a good enough working condition, right? Like, think of Bob Melvin. AJ Preller himself said that he was kind of hands-off with Bob Melvin, because he had respect for Bob Melvin and his knowledge of the game. And it worked one year, and then it kind of fell off a cliff. Kind of like how it was with the Giants. It kind of worked one year and then fell off a cliff. So AJ said himself that he was going to get more involved with Mike Shildt, and I'm assuming Mike Shildt was okay with that. But we revealed last video about how Mike Shildt could have been the micromanaging final boss and kind of pissed off a few coaches. So did AJ Preller getting in the middle of that, or trying to be more, again, I guess micromanaging, not to use the word again, but micromanaging of Shildt, that trickled down to micromanaging the other parts of the organization, if you get what I'm saying? So maybe everyone's a little too hands-on or too different, like, styles of coaching and managing. I don't know. Again, speculation. I'm just posing some questions. And then after Shilt's exit, sources suggest Shilt's departure may benefit Preller, since another firing under his watch would have looked bad if he was fired. It's still not it's not certain if he was fired or he retired just to retire. Obviously, there's speculations on both ends, but I think for the most part, he probably did retire. But again, I think what you'd like to think. Preller's track record now includes 6 managers in his tenure, more than any other GM in MLB since 2014. Both Preller and Shildt publicly praised each other, but staffers privately described their relationship as strained yet professional. A rival manager texted, "They can't fire another one under Preller. Just can't." And yeah, I don't think... How do I word this? I don't think every manager's faults have been Preller's fault. Like, I feel like on paper, he has made good decisions. Like, on paper, Bob Melvin was a good manager. Like, you saw what he did with the A's. And yes, the A's are bad now, but they used to be pretty good, right? With Josh Donaldson and all of them. But, like, on paper, I get the decisions he made. But, again, they didn't work out. Is that entirely on Preller? I don't know. Obviously, he is partly to blame for it. But I don't know if I just want to say, like, straight up, like, hey, this is your fault. You know what I mean? Can I, like... excuse it? No. Can I fully blame Preller? No. In my opinion, again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. But yeah, moving on to manager search and organizational turnover. Preller said the Padres will start their manager search immediately, hoping for long-term stability, as we all hope. He listed staff continuity. I can read. He listed staff continuities, I'm so sorry, elsewhere, pitching coaches, trainers, and operation executives to show internal steadiness. But the past 2 years have seen key exits: Bob Melvin to the Giants, Fred Ullum Jr. as assistant GM, who was the assistant GM, and Wells Oliver, who was the vice president of baseball systems. Those key figures have left, which means people are leaving the organization. And Fred Ullman has been here for a long time. So... yeah, is that a bad thing? Are people leaving ship? Or I guess jumping ship is the better term? I don't know. The repeated departures raise questions about Preller's management culture and burnout inside the front office. Are we spiraling? Are we spiraling? Is that the key question to ask right now? Are we spiraling? Because if we are, that sucks. If this is somehow... my bad, just dropped something. If this is somehow... I don't want to say sparks the end for the Padres, because I don't think... we can be that dramatic about it, but is it a change or is it a spiral? Again, answer me that in the comment section. But looking ahead, Preller publicly says, "I love the Padres and the city of San Diego," focusing on continuity and off-season work. Still, I promise I can read. But privately, many around baseball view 2026 as a make-or-break year for him. The front office dynamic has clearly changed. Gruppener holds power. Kutstenda... God, I know how to say his name. Hold on. Please don't yell at me. Eric Kutsenda, my bad, advises, and John Seidler oversees from afar. As one staffer summarized, Preller built the Padres into a contender. Now he has to prove that he can keep it that way. So here's how I feel about Preller right now. I absolutely agree that 2026 is a make-or-break year for him. That being said, I still think his positivities outweigh the negatives of his tenureship. Like, I do genuinely believe that he's a big reason we are where we are right now. And yeah, again, I read the comments. I know you guys hate Machado. I know you hate the contracts he gave out. I also don't think that's fully on AJ Preller. I think it was a little bit honestly, on Peter a little bit. Because I feel like at the end years of his life, he was like, I don't care about money. Like, he literally said, I don't care about money. I'm not going to keep it when I die. I think he encouraged the opening of his checkbook and signing whoever the hell we need in order to win. So I don't think it's fully on AJ Preller. But I feel like where AJ Preller has really started to like I think him now being on a budget has actually helped him improve a little bit. Again, I'm not saying it was a smart move to trade away 2 starting pitchers for Freddie Fermin. Also, please apply. I do like Freddie Fermin, but I don't agree with him trading away 2 future bright prospects for a catcher. Again, still though, I think overall he has done more good than harm for this team. But I do agree, if we somehow don't make the playoffs next year, I think it might have to spell the end for AJ Preller as a Padres GM, even though I like him as a GM. And I do have some images that kind of go hand in hand with this. But we'll read the bottom one. Dennis' article today touches on this a bit. All I'm saying is if Preller is let go, Gruppener had a lot to do with it. I'm siding with the maniac who is relentlessly working to get a Padres championship over the glorified bobblehead promoter. Gruppener has done a great job on the marketing side, but there is nothing to market and no tickets to sell without AJ Preller. They are the reason the ballpark sells out every night. There is none of this without them. AJ over Group every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. I've had my issues with Preller, but the past 2 seasons he's shown a lot of growth with how he's operated under a budget. He's a supreme talent finder. Would be a huge mistake not to extend him. Which is a very different take from what I'm seeing on the comment section. AJ Preller has his faults, but there is no disputing he's the most successful GM the Padres have had. I think it would be a massive mistake to let him go. They need to extend him at least another 2 years because as the core ages, I think 2028 is the beginning of the end. Which I don't disagree with. Padres ownership genuinely has zero reason not to spend money this offseason. Season ticket prices raised again. Stadium sold out every game. I think it was like 78 out of 82 were sold out. Team made the playoffs. Letting go of AJ Preller while simultaneously shrinking payroll is pre-Peter vibes. Let's hope they don't go that route. Yeah, the worst thing the Padres can do is go back to how things were. And I don't think John Seidler would let that happen, but I don't think we're going to see the same things he did or what Peter did for us. I think Seidler's a good pick. I would have liked, God, I'm so bad at names. Hold on. God. I'm so sorry, y'all. My brain's fried today. Shildt Seidler, Peter's wife, Peter's wife. I would have liked seeing her as the owner, but again, I don't think John Seidler's bad for the organization. I think he is a good pick, but I don't think we're going to see the same things we saw out of Peter. So, yeah, a lot of information to digest. I want to bring up one more possible point. This is going to be absolutely tin cap wearing Andrew. Pure speculation. But I feel like recently, and not just this year, I feel like ever since last year, the league has been really big on finding negative narratives about the Padres. I feel like there's been a lot of negativity around the Padres, and I'm not saying that it's not deserved, because there's definitely been things that have happened, like the whole ownership thing and all that, but I genuinely feel like sometimes the MLB is trying to paint the Padres as not a villain, but like someone, like a bad guy, kind of. Like maybe somewhere, again, full tin cap Andrew, I think sometimes the MLB might be upset that the Padres are going up against the Dodgers and trying to take away the national spotlight from them. Like, think about the playoffs last year with the whole, like, Manny Machado rolling the ball into the dugout, and they tried to paint us as hooligans and all, like, the taunting, the ball throwing at Jerks and Profar. I feel like, low-key, the MLB has been trying to paint the Padres as sort of a villain and trying to dismantle us one by one. Because there's a lot of drama coming out from our team, not just this right now, but like for a while now, at least ever since Peter has passed away. I feel like there's some kind of agenda to try to knock us down a peg because we're a small market team. I know we're selling out. I know we have a loyal fan base, but sometimes I genuinely feel like there's an agenda out on the Padres. Absolutely, I'm wearing the tinfoil cap, but I just feel like I should bring that up. Am I wrong? Am I right? I don't know. Again, let me know what you guys think. There's a lot to go over. Do you think, first of all, I know your answer to this already, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Do you like Preller, or do you want Preller gone? Do you prefer Eric Gruppener, or do you think he should also be gone? Should we just clean house? Should we get rid of everybody? Let me know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry to go on a little long, but you know me, I love my tangents. But have a fantastic rest of your day. Can't wait to see who we hire as manager next. We'll make a video at some point maybe about who we want, like our personal picks, me and Christian. But yeah, please subscribe. We're getting close to 1450 in our first duo video. And have a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye. Go Padres. Please win something one day. World Series preferably.